Broward Marine has built over 250 yachts in the 50 years that it's been in existence. Showtime is one of a handful of Browards built ever to ABS class. And Broward Marine only built this boat once. There's not a sister ship to this one, it's an absolute one-of-a-kind one-off. The owner wanted something special not only in the decor, he wanted a bigger, he wanted a wider boat, he wanted more volume. He also wanted it built to ABS standards, which the yard had never done. The plan approval that has to take place before we put in a window, before we set a deck frame, anything, had to all go through ABS, which we did just fine with. Remember, Broward Marine, prior to all of this, in the 50s, was building for the United States Navy and for the Dutch Navy for a series of 144 and 172-foot minesweepers. So it was just a matter of us getting used to it again and then putting all of our efforts to building a boat that we knew we could build with our standards, incorporating them with the ABS standard. That produced this boat right here. A lot of Browards were built from a blueprint, well, one they saw, and I just want to add something here, I want something there. This boat was a clean piece of paper. It not only had the largest hull at that time that we had built was a 25-foot beam hull. It was the largest in overall length at 125 feet, but it had a layout that was absolutely singularly one of a kind. And one of the things that he wanted, he said, I want a 150-foot boat, but I only want to have it in a 125-foot package. Well, how do you do that? What he started to do, instead of having all the galleys up, he said, well, number one, let's put that down. Let's make the entire main deck a deck for myself and my guests with no interruptions. The entry foyer was also treated differently than most boats, where you have kind of a tiny little box as you enter the boat and you're almost confused, which way do I go? When you enter this boat, the use of glass panels, the use of expanses of beautifully varnished teak, and in the middle of it, a spiral staircase going up to the upper salon really gives this boat, again, another feature that a 150-foot boat would have, not a smaller boat. It's a big, big plus because when you greet people on board a boat, it's always nice to have a kind of a spacious place. They also have even a small bar in that area to grab a drink or put down your keys or whatever you want to have as you enter this main salon through those glass doors. But the master clearly is not the size of a 125-foot boat as soon as you step into it. You see his and hers baths, which are standard, very large closets, of course, but then you see this immense space in the room. First time we ever did a vaulted ceiling. Very few of these boats are around with a vaulted ceiling like that, where the television is built into that space. It provides a lot of accommodation and a great feel as you enter the boat. Then the main saloon. It has no bulkheads, it's one continuous space from beginning to end. You have the dining room, formal dining room, of course, then you have the several grouping areas, and then right out to the aft deck. It all feels like one space. As we go up from the aft deck through a circular stairwell, we enter a very compact but very efficient open aft deck. And you can make it al fresco, you can have it with sun or without sun. They've given you a lot of flexibility in how this works. As we leave the upper aft deck and move forward into the upper salon, we see a very nice, simple layout with a bar to the forward bulkhead and, of course, seating and also a desk area. This is a nice area to come and have a drink before dinner, after dinner. It's a great place when you're cruising for the guests and the owners to hang out. You can go right directly forward into the wheelhouse with no interruption. The elimination of bulkheads and trying to keep all these spaces open and flowing is a real critical part of this boat's design, so you don't feel like you're in a box when you're up there. Plenty of glass, plenty of sunlight, and plenty of room to move around. As we go up to the top level, up into the sunning deck, we see a rather small space, but because it's laid out the way it is, it's very intimate. The owner really wanted to have originally just an intimate space where just he and a few of his guests could come up, have privacy, watch the world go by, and enjoy that beautiful view up there. The lower staterooms also were different. Typically, we had just matchy-matchy staterooms. He said, I don't want that. I want a VIP. I want a real VIP. I want it port to starboard, full width. I want to have it feel just like the master suite, slightly smaller with the same bed, king-size bed, all of that. That's what we put here on the aft end of the boat. We also put in 2 more. Instead of pushing in too many suites, we just put 2 more larger suites in. So all 4 of the suites on this boat are much larger than, again, you would see on a 125-foot yacht. It has a very today layout, and I think the next owner, it's going to serve them well. Instead of having an oversized galley on the main living deck where the crew is coming and going, we decided, like so many boats in Europe, let's take this entire box, the galley, move it down 1 deck into the crew area and expand the crew deck. So now, like in a home, the crew enjoys the galley, an eating area there for themselves. And also, they don't have to be so careful on everything they come in and do during the course of making meals for everybody and for the crew. It works best for the crew this way. It works best for the owners this way. For the convenience also of the owners and the crew, we do have an abbreviated galley, a small one. We would call it a service galley. That service galley has, refrigeration and plates and all the other things that go there, but there's no serious cooking there. It's just preparation, snacks, everything else, coffees, whatever you have on this main deck. So we didn't get rid of an entire galley. We just had an abbreviated galley on this deck and then the main galley down below. Europeans and many more people that get larger boats want to basically get that part away from themselves and be able to enjoy the private part of the boats just by themselves and not share that with the crew. And that's what this layout does. The boat and his plan was very important. What's one of the biggest boats I can get into the Bahamas? And I mean in the shallow parts of the Bahamas. This boat can draft under 6 feet. That's very unusual for a boat of this size. And still cruises at 12 knots. Still can top out at over 17, but the comfortable area is between that 12 and 14 range. Very, very minimal fuel burn, very comfortable. The boat feels like it's just barely, exercising itself. It feels comfortable on board. And that's one of the reasons that we try to design a boat not to be too much of any one thing to anybody. Video doesn't tell all the story, it can't. And having built this boat for the original owner, I can tell you a little bit more in detail what this boat is about and the kind of things that went into it. I think it's important for the next owner to know because this is a very special Broward.